Hello there, my little Sunday morning littles. I hope you're all doing well this week and things are going good for you. I really have missed you, of course, still missing you, still hoping that one day we'll get back in that Sunday school classroom. But until that time, we will meet here virtually. And if you're a Sunday school little in my classroom, I hope you're enjoying this study of Joseph. And if you're just a virtual visitor with us, we would love to have you come to our Sunday school room whenever we get back in our building. That would just be amazing. It would. If you were with me last week on our lesson about Joseph, we found out that Joseph's brothers were making their first journey down to Egypt to buy grain because there is a big famine in the land where Joseph's brothers were living with their father Jacob. And so as they went down and of course Jacob recognized them when they came before him to buy the grain, and he accused them of being spies, if you remember. He was kind of making it a little tough on them. I guess maybe he wanted a little payback, I don't know, but he was also trying to see if they remembered what they had actually done to him, to see if they were really showing any remorse or if they felt bad about what had happened in the years past to their brother Joseph. So today we're going to pick up with the question of, will they make a second journey? Because if you remember, Simon, their brother, was left there. And in order for them to get Simon back, they had to bring Benjamin on their next journey to see the ruler or to the official of the grain, which was Joseph, to let him see his younger brother. And we're going to see if they follow through with that second journey. Okay? All right. So here we go. This is the titled, Will They Make a Second Journey? And it comes from Genesis 42, 26 through 38, and Genesis 43, 1 through 15. All right? So, we're going to look at this picture, and I don't know if you remember this detail from last week, but as Joseph's brothers returned to their homeland, they were extremely worried because not only had they been forced to leave their brother Simeon, or Simon, some call him, in Egypt, they had found all of their money returned to them in their sacks of grain. And they were really afraid that Joseph and the officials in Egypt would accuse them of trying to trick them or just accuse them of being deceitful. And they were very worried as they returned. And in this picture, of course, we think about opening up the sack of grain and then finding your money. That's like getting an item from a store, but not really having to pay for it. So they were extremely worried because of the way that Joseph had acted toward them at first, accusing them of being spies. And now they thought, oh my word, here's our money. They're really going to accuse us of something now when we go back. And our brother Simon is still down there. So they were very worried. But amidst all that worry, they went to their father Jacob to tell him what had happened. So when they told their father Jacob all that had happened, he was upset. But he really got upset when they told him that when they returned to Egypt, they must bring their youngest brother Benjamin with them. And Jacob cried, and I want you to look at that picture because his face, he's an older gentleman now, and his face looks very distraught and sad because he feels like he's been bereaved of his children, meaning he's been deprived or his children have been taken from him, and he is extremely sad. He's sad for the fact that he believes still that Joseph is dead. And now Simon, one of his sons, is in Egypt. And now they're wanting his youngest son, Benjamin. And so he feels like he's being robbed of his children. And he's asking the question why, of course, but he's also saying all this has happened to me. And he's trying to search and think of why possibly this could have happened to him. He doesn't understand it. And so in this picture, I understand how a parent would feel if something happened to you, littles. They would be very distraught. And so he's very, very, very upset that he's having to go through this. Now, Jacob, of course, was an older man at this time, and he held out as long as he could. But the famine was raging in the land, and it was still raging, meaning it was still going on. Pharaoh's Dream said that this famine would last for 7 years. And so Jacob finally came to the realization that he was going to have to send his sons back to buy grain. So he did, and he reluctantly sent Benjamin, the youngest, with them because he was so sad. He'd already lost a son. He had a son in captivity now, and now he was having to send his youngest son. So he was very, very, very upset. And Jacob was so worried this time when he sent his sons that he told them to take the man in Egypt some gifts of honey and nuts and fruit, and to take double the money for the grain. Now, things like this back in the Bible times, they were delicacies. They were something that, not everyone had. And so Jacob was offering some of the best things that he had to the man in Egypt just to see if he could get his sons returned safely and just to ensure that no one was going to starve to death in his family. And so he really made sure that his sons understood that he had to take double the money, or they had to take double the money back with them, because their money had been returned the first time, and he was very worried about that. So he said, take that money plus more money to buy more grain and see if you can come to terms with this man in Egypt, because Jacob was very, very worried. Okay, so he's offering gifts as well too. So the men took the gifts, and they took double the money with them, as well as their brother Benjamin. They took him too. Then they went on their way down to Egypt, and they stood before Joseph. So the brothers, it looks like, have lived up to what Joseph wanted them to do. He has kept their brother Simon in captivity there. And now he's wanting them to bring their youngest son Benjamin, or their youngest brother Benjamin, down to the land. And they've done that. They have. Because they didn't want their family to starve. They didn't want that. And so they complied with what Joseph had asked. So what do you think that Joseph will do now? They're back in Egypt for the second time. They're complying and doing everything that Joseph has asked them to do. I wonder if there's going to be something else that he possibly may ask them to do. Well, littles, we got to tune in next week to find that one out, don't you? I know, that's mean, isn't it? But I hope that you're applying each one of these little lessons to things that happen in your life. I think at this point, Joseph's brothers, if they had never realized before some of the wrong that they had done to Joseph when he was younger, I believe that they're realizing it now. I do. And poor Jacob, the father, he's really upset and bereaved or deeply saddened because all this is happening to his family. And, I know that you're littles, and I know that a lot of times when bad things happen, you kind of bounce right back and things are okay. But, sometimes your parents go through some really, really, really hard things. And sometimes they worry and they grieve over things that may have happened in regards to you. Maybe they regret sometimes some things that they may have done. And they want to keep you extra safe and they want to take really good care of you. And sometimes things get out of their control. And that causes them to be really, really sad. And I think that that's the state that Jacob was in too. And I've never really saw Joseph be a mean or malicious and harmful person. So I don't think he's going to do anything to harm anyone. But I wonder what he's going to do now when he sees his youngest brother, Benjamin. He's not saw him in a long time. Littles, I want you to think on this lesson, okay? Think about it. Think if you were Joseph. What would you do? What would you do if you saw someone you hadn't seen in a very long time? Think about all the little things that you can apply in this story to your sweet little lives. And hopefully, when we do the next lesson, we're getting very, very close, if not close enough to end our lessons on Joseph. And we'll kind of do a big review on some of the things that happened to Joseph before we move on to someone else or something else. I just always want you to, when you listen to Miss Michelle's words, really, really think how these lessons affect your lives today. Because if you can apply God's word to your life today, then that's a really, really good way to build up your hope and your trust and your faith and all that in Jesus and what He's done for you. Okay? So really, really, really think about that this week. And I'm going to pray. My prayer is always that you stay safe, that you stay healthy, that you stay happy. My prayer is always that you don't forget me. I haven't forgotten you. I do want to see you in our building again, in our little Sunday school class, in our little close-knit little area. I want to see that again. So I'm just going to keep praying and hoping, and I know one day it will happen. Okay? Littles, if I don't see you in our classroom, I'll see you here next week, okay? Never forget. Love you a bunch, littles.